So guys, we're in Kingston at the entrance of the Marriott Hotel in Georgetown, Guyana. And what I want to do is to show you what's happening at the riverbank. Take a look at the waterfront property along the Demerara River in Georgetown, and to try to envision what a boardwalk would look like.
Oh, this is my day. I'm ready to take it on, come what may.
So we're gonna walk down this Battery Road in Kingston. There you have Demerara Timbers Limited, and here is another construction project. But recently Guyana has been in budget season, so Ministry of Guyana Forestry Commission, the Ministry of Finance has recently released the budget for 2019, and so the ministers are making the rounds and making the case for their share of the budget. And I was really surprised by the budget of the Ministry of Public Works. And in this year's, in fact the next year's budget, they have money allocated for building a boardwalk along the riverbank in Georgetown. And so what I want to do is to take a look at the waterfront property along the Demerara River in Georgetown, and to try to envision what a boardwalk would look like along the riverbank. Now, this boardwalk that they plan to build is something that I thought was needed, and it exists in fact in several major cities. Singapore, for example, has boardwalks all along the Vivo City area and near to the trams that take you to Sentosa. And so the plan is to build a boardwalk along the riverfront here at the Demerara River, and also to extend it along the ocean front from here in Kingston all the way up perhaps to Kitty. So there's plans and there's money in the budget to build a boardwalk, and this is what the riverbank looks like, and I guess where the boardwalk would have to be positioned, be placed here in Kingston, and would extend all the way along the riverbank in Georgetown. Now the riverbank here is occupied by ports, so it's still not clear to me what will happen to the port access if they're to build a boardwalk. Are the boardwalks going to be up to and going around those ports? And what would happen? Are they going to build it out on platforms in the river, or are they going to build it on land? So here is my next series of videos. I will do a series of videos on Water Street, which is the closest street to the riverbank here in Georgetown, Guyana. And so let's take a walk along Water Street, and you'll see the distance that Water Street is from the riverbank, and try to imagine where a boardwalk would be placed. That's a great idea, and it's going to involve or require some significant engineering. But here we are. We're going to head back to Water Street, and we're going to take a walk up Water Street. And imagine how far away Water Street is from the riverbank, and somewhere between Water Street and the riverbank there's plans to build a boardwalk. So let's take a look at that. Heading back along Battery Road in Kingston, and the first street we're going to encounter is Water Street. We're going to make a right on Water Street. And take a look at what's happening in the Kingston section of Water Street here in Georgetown, Guyana. So here we are going past the Marriott Hotel again, or Georgetown Marriott. At the top of the Marriott you'll notice there's a glass enclosure. That is in fact the lighthouse. So because the Marriott is so tall that it blocks the lighthouse, they transferred the lighthouse to the top of the Marriott. So that's where the old lighthouse is, and it's no longer visible from the ocean because of the Marriott. And so the arrangement they've made is to move the lighthouse to the top of the Marriott. There we have it. It's Water Street and Battery Road intersection. And then the street. Forestry on the left. On the large complex on the right hand side, coming up, that big building is GPL's power generating plant here in Georgetown. So that makes all the power for Georgetown. On the right hand side there's some new construction going up. Here's the mining school, Guyana Mining School Training Center. Guyana Mining School and Training Center. On the right hand side you have GPL, Guyana Power and Light. And there you have the lighthouse. The old lighthouse. Like I said, that lighthouse is now located at the top of the Marriott. So at the top of the Marriott Hotel is now where the lighthouse is located. This is old Dutch coca. Right, so here we are. That's the lighthouse. I haven't visited the lighthouse in a while. And over here is the power generating plant, Guyana Power and Light. Top of the lighthouse, you can still go. Yeah. So this is Water Street in Kingston, and on the right hand side is Guyana Power and Light, power producer and distribution, power producers and distributors. This is Guyana Power and Light. So the point is that Water Street and the portion of land between Water Street and the riverbank is occupied by industrial property, and so to be able to build a boardwalk would actually present a challenge. Here we have Lincoln University. on Water Street. That's opposite Guyana Power and Light, Kingston Power Station. Oh, it's a boutique. That's Lincoln University. Guyana Power and Light on the right hand side. We have Lincoln University on the left hand side. On Water Street in Kingston. Salvation Army. Guyana Power and Light. So a large section of the Water Street is occupied by the power plant, right? The Guyana Power and Light generating plant. And a boardwalk would have to navigate around this location. There are going to be some serious engineering challenges to build a boardwalk in this section of the city. Like I said, it's a great idea, but how to implement it might prove to be a bit challenging. Because of the kinds of industrial property that occupy the riverbank. Right, that's Guyana Power and Light. So this is the extent. They extend all the way from Cowan Street. So we're now approaching the intersection with Cowan Street and Water Street in Kingston. And all of this embankment is occupied by Guyana Power and Light, and that's the molasses terminal. So this is the Sugar Corporation, property owned by the Sugar Corporation. And here at Cowan Street, you can see how close the riverbank is. The river is now pretty close. Right, that's the Demerara River, going past the Coca. Right, so the Demerara River is pretty close. Kingston Practical Instruction Center on Cowan Street. So the question is, where do you place a boardwalk in this section of the city? As we go past another Coca, right, another Coca, and here you have BK group of companies and another port facility, shipping. Alright, so in this case, they're shipping piles of rocks, stones, I guess for construction. So the question is, where do you put a boardwalk? Where do you place a boardwalk? Do you build it out into the river, or do you displace some of the industrial properties here and you move them to another location. That might actually be an important and viable decision, because Transport and Harbors Department, their work is here, because having the ports and the shipping terminals here, while it might have been convenient, built here in this location because of convenience decades ago, 60 or 70 or 80 years ago, with the direction of the country and the changing needs of the city, it might make sense to relocate a lot of the shipping to an industrial zone so that the city can rebrand itself and reposition itself as a people-friendly international city, and that it's accessible. And so if you're going to build boardwalks along the riverbank, there you go, accessible from Water Street being the closest road to the riverbank, and what occupies the land between Water Street and the riverbank is all these industrial properties. Then you're going to find that you need to move some of these industries, relocate them to some industrial zone so that you can turn the riverbank into people-friendly and accessible boardwalk, perhaps with restaurants and bars and shops and malls. But it remains to be seen what the vision is for this boardwalk, because having a boardwalk through an industrial zone is probably not the best implementation of that vision. Having a boardwalk which will attract pedestrian traffic should also be accompanied with consumer friendly options like the bars and the restaurants and the hotels and the stores and the malls, because that is what is compatible with the kind of pedestrian traffic that a boardwalk would entail. This is, of course, another location that's accessible, that should be accessible. The riverbank should be accessible from this location, but there's a lot of industrial work in that case. This is Guyana Stores garage, the Guyana Stores Limited garage, and behind them is Courtney Ben Contracting. And so there's all this industry that's happening along the bank, the riverbank. And the question is, if you build a boardwalk, that inevitably requires you to rezone the area and to remove these industries, the contracting and construction firms and the shipping ports, and move them to a zone where they can be away from the kind of pedestrian traffic that a boardwalk would entail with the traffic. So guys, that's my opinion of what's going to happen here. This is the City Constabulary Training Complex. Alright, City Constabulary is a city law enforcement agency, and so on. So in the comments below, tell me what you think about building a boardwalk along the riverbank in Georgetown as we pass stores on Water Street, and then tell me how you think that will be implemented. So here you have some stores that would be important for pedestrian traffic that will be attracted by the boardwalk. And so there is a shopping zone. We've entered the Lacytown section of Water Street, and there is in fact a shopping zone extended from this area all the way towards Sabrick Market, but we'll cover that in the next video. Later!